Welcome, warriors. I'm JoeJoe Fusion, now official spinal fusion warrior. Don't have the fusion part down. Working on it. My body's currently working on growing bone. Figured I would just do a quick update video. It's going to be quick. Well, maybe. Who the hell knows? Just whatever I can do, just so that if somebody stumbles across this video, they can know a little bit about what to expect going in and coming out, and mainly just so you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because right after surgery there's going to be some rough days, but it will let up, even though I didn't think it would initially. Anyway, first a quick update. So going into my surgery, the day of, the surgeon came in and he had revised his plan so that he would save my C2 and my C2-3 and also all my lamina. After more reviewing, and he said he went back and forth a bunch of times, but we went with the original plan. So I did lose my C2-3, so that's fused. And he did go in the back, and there was laminectomy. So I had ACDF in the front, which is C5, 6, and 6, 7, and then PCDF in the back with laminectomy, all the way from C2 to T1. He didn't go to T2. He said he didn't see a need to do so. It looked healthy, and that he didn't believe that would make a difference either way. So I did get to keep one of my vertebrae from the initial plan. So going up to surgery, initially I shouldn't say initially, they didn't let my family come back with me in pre-op because they asked how old my daughter was, and I said, well, she's 11, and apparently if my daughter was under the age of 12, her and my wife couldn't come back in a pre-op with me. So just know that some hospitals may have this restriction. So that was a little rough, but basically I used Google Hangouts to video chat with them. So we were talking pretty much the whole time. So that was a little better. It was almost as good as having them with me. Then they took me back into the they set up a they put a line in my wrist to go into one of the arteries to monitor my blood pressure. Basically told me they're going to keep a close eye on my breathing, blood pressure, all that wonderful stuff, because I'm type 2 diabetic, which I have controlled with diet and exercise. We'll see how that works now, because exercise isn't out the window, but it's nothing like what I was doing prior. It's not like I can go run a mile right now. But anyway, so they put all the lines in, put an IV in, dragged me back, or wheeled me back, and put a mask over my face, told me to just breathe deep, and then at some point in breathing deep, the next thing I just remember was waking up. So for me it was instantaneous, but for everybody else it was 9+ hours. So my surgery was 9+ hours long. Surgeon said I did real well, or everything went well. He feels real good with the stability of my neck. He felt good about the screws that anchor all the hardware and all that stuff. I don't know how many screws or anything were put into me, because the first few days were rough. I wasn't asking too many questions. My wife may know. But I'll get back with that information, and hopefully after my 2-week I'll have an x-ray to show you guys. I didn't want to see it, especially not the first 3 days. I did not want to see everything that was in me. My wife took a picture of my incision and all that. I did not want to see that. Basically, as silly as this sounds, I want to be as ignorant about what's going on as possible. So day 1 wasn't so bad. I mean, the pain was... it was rough, but it wasn't too bad. Now, day 2, and someone had warned me of this. They said day 2 is going to be the worst. And I found out that's because that's when the nerve block that they give you wears off. And day 2 was rough. It was brutal. Basically, points where I was just in so much pain that I was shaking. And then there were also some issues on day 2 to where some of my pain medication came a little late. I guess they had a bunch of patients. They were doing the best they could to get from room to room. But some of my pain medication came a little later than it should have. So that put me in a little more pain than probably I should have been. But just know this, going in day 2, that's going to be the day. You may feel fine on day 1, or well, not fine, but you're like, oh, this is fine. But just know you've got one day, and maybe it was closer to a day and a half, that it's going to be brutal. It's going to hurt. Know that will end. Know that shouldn't, or at least in my case and in other people's cases, that shouldn't last more than, anywhere from 24 to 36 hours. Mine was roughly about 36, but you get over it. And then the following day, it's not as bad. What I did on the following day was my wife and my parents are also down here, love them. They sat down and set up a schedule for all my medications. So I had a medication schedule that kept me relatively comfortable most of the time. And on that, and also I was walking on the first day after surgery. I walked. PT took me down the hall. They took me to some stairs, watched me do some stairs, and then said, "You're good. They're like, we don't need to come back and see you. You just need to make sure that you walk." So I've been doing that. And on day 3 or 4, I think I came home on 3. So day 4, I walked. Keep in mind, it's not a lot, but for after what I just went through, I was amazed. I was able to do around a quarter of a mile, maybe a little more, and was just amazed by that. And then later on, so in the morning on day 4, after being released from the hospital, I'm sorry I'm going off. Keep in mind, I'm still on pain medication, and some of this is a little rambly, so I apologize. But so on day 4, took a walk, and then again later in the day, took another walk. So I did about a quarter of a mile in the morning, and then I didn't walk very far the second part, but still walked more. And this morning I walked. It had to be, I'm assuming, another quarter of a mile, maybe a little more. About 4 or 5 p.m. I'll go out for another walk. But the big things you can do after recovery, even if it hurts, unless your doctor tells you otherwise, you're going to want to walk. You're going to want to rest. You're going to want to make sure you eat. And eating is rough. I've not been doing a good job with that. I know I'm not eating anywhere near as much as I should be. And you're going to want to ice. That helped me a lot. A woman named Miriam, I hope I pronounced her name right, she recommended these ice packs here, and they literally saved my freaking life. I'll link these in the description. You can get these on Amazon. I was putting them on my shoulder blades and then also at certain points a little lower in my back, and I slept on these things, and it helped to where even as the pain medication would wear off, I really think it helped control that pain, so that in between doses of pain medication, I was okay. And there's different sizes of these, but these things are great. Also, since then, yesterday, I started noticing that when we came home, they had me on OxyContin, 10 milligrams every 4 to 6 hours, and my wife was giving it to me every 4 hours to stay on top of the pain. That's the other thing. Do not fall behind on the pain. In the hospital, I fell behind on the pain, and it like everybody's gonna say, especially on the forums or the boards through Facebook that you may be a member of. I'm a member of the ACDF group and the PCDF group. They'll tell you don't fall behind on the pain, and I found out first experience. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Bad. No. But I did, through no fault of my own in the hospital. Like I said, they were running late with the medication. On the third day, and this did get me a little agitated, and I'm going to mention it, I had a nurse who was more concentrating on flirting with the other nurses that we'd call for pain meds, and like 30 minutes would go by, and and I'm in pain, and we'd call, and he'd be like, oh, what room am I supposed to go to, and this and that. And keep in mind, I still didn't yell. I didn't yell at him or anything. I treated him with respect, but I wanted to scream at him and go, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you've got people that are in pain, like pain. Maybe flirting with the nurses can wait. Do your job first. But like I said, at the time, that's what I felt. And my wife and also agreed that, yeah, that wasn't just me. It wasn't just because I was in pain and upset. That was something that shouldn't have happened. And it happened multiple times, to where he'd be doing other stuff. And it's not, here's the thing, if he's helping other patients, I get that. I understand that. But he was doing stuff like flirting with, like I said, flirting with nurses, or talking, or not keeping track of what he was supposed to be doing. And, I don't know how to put it. Don't let them do that to you. If you ever come across a nurse that does that. Every one of my other nurses was great. Was great. Very patient with me. There were times when I would be in a bunch, especially like I said, day 2, where I'd be in a bunch of pain. It was hard for me to vocalize what was wrong or what I wanted, but they were very patient and great all around. So thank you to them. They probably won't see this, but they were great. It was just that last nurse on the last, I think it was the last day. Even calling the wheelchair. We called the wheelchair. They wanted on day 3. They were ready to release me because PT had released me. Everybody, said I was good to go. They even had a wound drain on my back, and it wasn't draining. And then when they looked at the wound, they said it's clean. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't. The reason the drain isn't, or the wound vac isn't working, is because I guess it's healing real well. So they were ready to let me go on the third day. Now the thing with that is it came all of a sudden, because I thought I was going to be in there one more day. Even getting that wheelchair, the nurse, she said, oh, they'll be here any minute. We waited for an hour. Now keep in mind, this is around 2, I think, that the wheelchair was called. And then, sorry, 2, the wheelchair was called, and we waited for like an hour. Now keep in mind, my surgery is in Atlanta. I live south, so it's going to take me 45 minutes or so to get home. I have to make sure I can get to the pharmacy to grab all the prescriptions that I need, just to make sure there's nothing missing, or any stuff that was added, or even stuff that we learned, oh, it might be good to grab some of this stuff or some of that stuff, not prescription stuff, but other stuff. So we're in a mad dash to try and get out of there, and it took them an hour to get me a wheelchair so that I could leave. And I think part of that was because, and keep in mind, I don't know if this is the case, but I think my nurse forgot to call it in. Anyway, the other thing that after surgery, sorry, like I said, I know this is going on, 14 minutes. But hopefully you'll see. This will just let you know what I went through. The other thing is pooping. I didn't poop for 4 days, but then again, I also really wasn't eating all that much either. However, if you're having issues with pooping, and they had me on a stool softener and a laxative, it wasn't doing much, and when I came home, I stayed on it. But my mother-in-law actually recommended Dulcolax liquid laxative. And I took that, and you got to make sure you drink water when you drink it. I would say they say at least 8 ounces, but I would drink whatever you can tolerate. Within 30 minutes, I was on the toilet. Now keep in mind, what that's doing is you drank a lot of water, and you took this laxative, and it basically forces the water through. But as the water is going through, it is taking other stuff with it. So that's helped, and I took that. I've been taking it in the mornings, just to get everything moving. Before I left, I told the doctor, "Look, I haven't pooped," and they said, "Have you been passing gas?" I said, "Yeah, I've been passing plenty of gas," and they said, "Well, that means everything's working." So they said, "Don't get freaked out if you haven't had a bowel movement. As long as you're passing gas, you're okay." And like I said, with that, I do have little bits of, it's liquid and, bits of stuff that come out, so stuff is coming out, and I'm not eating a whole lot, so maybe I have to eat more. I don't feel uncomfortable, so that's good, meaning like I don't feel bloated or anything like that, or like I have to poop real bad and I can't. But if you're having issues, this stuff, it's amazing. It'll make you go, and I would say that once you feel like if you take this, within 30 minutes to an hour, you're gonna go. So keep that in mind. But other than that, I've been doing well. I think I mentioned this, but I cut my pain medications back to the Oxycontin to every 6 hours, because on every 4 hours I was noticing that I didn't have bad pain every 4 hours, so maybe back it off a little bit and see what happens. Usually about the time for the next dose, I feel a little bit of pain, but I'm not one to medicate myself out of all pain. Oh, excuse me. That's the other thing. Real burpy after the surgery. I think that's from the ACDF part. Not 100% sure, but I'm real burpy. So the other thing I've noticed, which you don't necessarily have to freak out about, is certain times when I move, I'll hear a pop, or a kind of like if you were to crack your joints, like that, in my neck. Don't believe that's anything to worry about, especially if it's not followed by pain or any kind of sensation change or something or stuff like that. I did have the doctor on the phone because we thought I was running a fever at one point, so we called him and I asked him a few questions, just stupid questions while I had him on, and he said no, that could be the muscle or whatever, readjusting or all that. But basically, you don't have to worry about it. And also explained the collar that I'm wearing. I'm in the shower collar right now, washing the pads for the other one, which I may have said. That's not holding my fusion together. He said the fusion is strong enough. That collar's just mainly to make sure I don't do stupid stuff like turn my head or react real quick, which could hurt me. And at this point, and yes, you could damage the fusion, but it is not as easy as you would think to damage the fusion. So to not worry if I hear little pops or whatever, as long as there's no pain or anything like that follows them. But anyway, so it's day 6, and I'm doing well enough. I did want to let you know about these 2 products up on the screen, and I'll link them in the description. But the ice packs and the Docalax will really help get you through. Also, make sure you have a family member with you. If I didn't have my wife in the hospital, that would have been real rough. The way the hospital beds came up, they didn't come up enough. I couldn't feed myself because I was on this weird angle and I couldn't do it. Now that I'm home, I can eat, but I can feed myself. But just the hospital bed made it to where I couldn't feed myself, and I didn't just want to sit up without sit on the edge of sit on the side of the bed without a back, because that would really agitate my back, especially those first few days when I was in a lot of pain. So my wife fed me and things like that. My wife did shower me. I was able to shower not yesterday, but the day before. They said I could start showering. I'm probably going to shower every 2 days. I'm not exerting myself, sweating a whole lot or anything like that, so I'm probably going to go every 2 days. The first day my wife showered me. Today I pretty much did it on my own. It's some things she helped me with. Not so much in the shower sense, but took off the collar, patted stuff down on the back, stuff I can't really reach. She said as far as the incisions and the padding and all that looks good. It's all clean. So that means, I'm assuming that's meaning that I'm healing right. But yeah, make sure somebody's with you, especially I would say the first 2 weeks. What else? Yeah, basically, on day 2, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. I can't take 2 weeks of this kind of pain. I mean, I would have, but it was horrible. Just know that day 2 pain doesn't last forever. And ask your surgeon about the nerve block when that wears off and how long he roughly thinks it's going to take to get your pain under control after that. Because that's the big thing. When that wears off, it's a whole new world. Like I said, day 1 it was like, okay, this is rough, but I can deal with this. And then day 2, it was like if my wife wasn't in the hospital with me, I wouldn't have been able to do anything myself. I was forcing myself to walk, but everything else, like I said, feeding myself and things like that, it was all rough. And then the other thing, and this was accidental. It wasn't the nurse's fault, but I was due for my medication and it was late, and this was also on day 2. But then one of the technicians, the ones that do your blood pressure, and all that, came in and wanted to wash me, so she washed me. I'm already late for my pain medication, and then I was trying to bathe myself and all this other stuff, and I think that kicked me into a level of pain like probably. I don't know if it was the worst pain I've ever been in my life. I want to say it was. But it hurt like hell, and it had to be because I was late on my pain medication. They were moving me around, and they were washing me and trying to get me. Like I said, not their fault. I get that stuff, little not inconsistencies, but the technician didn't know I was behind on my pain medication, so she just washed me, and then the nurse, probably because I didn't let her know I was in pain, probably thought it was okay. So not their fault. Not their fault in that case. But yeah, this is basically just a rambling video, me giving you my thoughts about what I just went through. And like I said, I understand that's what this video is going to be, because it's day 6 for me right now. So keep in mind, I'm at day 6. So 6 days ago, I had a major surgery. And on day 6, I'm here shooting a video. So it's not unbearable. And like I said, I would say this. They let me go on day 3. It was getting better, and then on day 4 it was bearable, and then since then, it's not been horrible. So I do sleep a lot, and I recommend sleep as much as you can, but just make sure that you, like I said, you walk, you ice, you eat, and if you need to get that Docalax stuff, you take that, make sure you poop. But it is doable. And thanks again, like everybody on the ACDF boards and PCDF boards that I've been on, they're all amazing people. Up to the surgery, they helped me, let me know what I was what to expect. Tips for after surgery. Like I said, the ice packs were a tip from somebody. And then even afterwards, I was out of it. I couldn't update Facebook. I couldn't, but I looked at a lot of the comments the other day, and just to see, hey, is anybody asking? Maybe I can answer some questions of someone saying, hey, how you doing? And just people saying, hey, if anybody can get an update on him, how is he doing? Is his wife reading this? Can you get us an update? Like genuine care. And I guess that makes sense, because as I see people on the boards, I genuinely care about them as well, and hope they get through it. I've even made a couple new friends through these groups. One of whom, his name's Henry. He had his surgery, and he's doing well right now, but he's got some challenges he's facing. Hopefully I'll get him on another video, and we'll discuss some of his challenges and a little bit more of a coherent discussion on what I went through. But my stuff was relatively, I don't know if you call it textbook, but it went well. Even my recovery so far. Oh yeah, and I mentioned that we thought I was running a fever the one day. It turns out I wasn't. I was underneath a heat vent in my house, and also we could have been laying on the ice packs, but I don't know. The ice packs help with the pain, so whatever. Oh, this is from my CPAP machine. This thing here. I wear CPAP to sleep. But that's it. This is going on for 25 minutes. The fact that I was even able to do this video for 25 minutes should let you know that, hey, there's life after this. I can, if I can do this, you can do this. And a lot of the people will tell you that you can do this. That was my wife. She was stepping in to let me know that she was going to pick up my daughter from school. But yeah, if I can go through this, you can. And yeah, keep in mind, you may face different challenges. But like I said, there is getting through it. In most cases, there is getting through it. And in a lot of cases, things go well. I would say a lot of the time things do go well. But that's it. I don't want to keep rambling. Basically, you can see, hey, look, there's Joe. He's all right. He's moving, he's talking, that was the main reason I came up to do this video. I know it's not the best quality. I know it's me rambling a lot about different things, but as long as I got the ice packs are real good, the Docalax definitely helped me. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I need in case you're going into surgery? No, I think that there are going to be other things, but I know that the two things I think were the lifesavers were the ice packs, the Docalax, staying on top of the pain, walking as much as you can tolerate, listen to your body, sleep as much as you can, and just recover. And that's all I got. But thank you, everybody, and I hope everybody on the ACDF board knows that I on the ACDF and PCDF boards know that they're both great groups, and you do genuinely come to care for the people that you're talking with, and that is one of the best things I could have ever done going into this surgery. Because you have all the support before, you have all the support after, and I hope to be able to support, now that I'm on the other side, hope to support others going through this. Now I can tell them, like, here's what happened, here's what I felt, here's, what I did, and just be there for others. That's it. Where's my little record button? All right. Well, this is JoJo Fusion saying you don't have to be the best warrior, just the best warrior that you can be.